Hello and welcome back to the Power BI video series. Today we're going to talk about Power Query Editor and how exactly you can open up Power Query Editor. How do you modify any data that you want during the process of data transformation. To get to that particular piece, first you need to understand how would you navigate to that section. So on the left pane over here on the screen, let me just bring it up and get it highlighted. So this section, these are the views that you have for your system or in Power BI. Now this particular view that you have, these are the four different views. The first view is called as report view. Then we have table view. Then we have model view, and then we have DAX query view. We'll talk about DAX and the stunning dashboard that you see on the screen. How do we create this? To understand how do we create this particular report, stay tuned to the entire playlist. At the end of the playlist, you will be able to create these kind of reports in less than 10 minutes, and I promise you that. So let's talk about the Power Query Editor. So you go to table view first. So this is the table view. You go to the table view. Once you go to the table view, you need to click on home. Then once you click on home, you have an option as transform data. The moment you click on transform data, you have an option as transform data again. The screen that you see that is opened up right now is called as Power Query Editor. This query or this language that you have on the screen is also known as M language. We'll not get into the details of what language it is and how exactly the query works. But let's try and see how exactly it looks like. Let me try and expand it for you. So it's basically a similar query that you have for your JSON as well when you're trying to create something in Power Automate or giving a key pair value. That is how it has been mentioned. It starts with the column name and then the type of the column it is. Okay. So similarly, like for example, this is the date column and it has been formatted. This is the date column, my bad. This is the date column and it has been formatted with the type as date. So this is the date column. So that is how you see it here. And this is the relevance. Okay. This is how your data on the query has been looked up. So for example, if you look at the column, next column, that is country, this is the country column. Now this is in the format of type text, as you can see it. Now where do I see it in the query? In this query, this is the country, which is my column name, and then you have the type. You have the type over here. Now the type is text. So if you take the relevance of this one from here, that means your column country is of type text. That is what you see in the Power Query Editor. You can even modify the types of the columns when you are transforming the data. For example, this particular column that I have right now, which is unit price, if I see it is of type number. If I change this number to text, it gives me an option to change it to text. I'm not going to make the change, but this is how you'll be able to change it. Now there is one more setting that you need to remember is on the right side, which is query settings that you see, that is the applied steps. In applied steps, what do we get is any changes that you start doing in this Power Query Editor will show up in the applied steps. For example, you made a change to any of the data types over here, which is from date to text, and you want to change it or undo it, you can just go ahead and click on the cross button over here, which will undo the step and get you back to the previous state. Let's try and do it for the date column. So for the date column that I have on the screen is here. I'll change the type to text. I can directly change it from here, or I can choose remove the columns, modify it. There are several ways to it. Or I can just select the column and then I go to data type and then I select as text. These are the two ways. So you can either replace the current view. I'll say replace. The moment I replace it, now what happens to the date is the date type has been changed to text. Now if you see in the applied section, it talks about what step has been changed. Now it says column type, change column type. So this is the change that has happened. So if I cross on this one, so that means the step that I had taken earlier has been removed. So it's just like an undo that you do in your general any of the Microsoft applications. Once this change has been done, and if you want to save these changes, you'll have to go to the extreme left corner here, and then you have a button called as close and apply. So there are two ways. Either you close it without applying the settings, that is closing without saving, and then you have close and apply, which will apply the settings and then close this particular window. For now, I'll close it because I don't want to make any changes to the current data. I'll discard the changes, report view. It's that easy. We'll talk more about different sections and different views on the screen and how exactly to create this Power BI dashboard with less than 10 minutes. To understand that, stay tuned to the playlist. See you again in the next video. Thank you, everyone.